We are born into a world of constant sensation. From the moment we arrive, the human body becomes a tuning fork, vibrating with the signals of our environment. Our world is not simply seen, it is felt through a kaleidoscope of senses that shape every moment of our lives. We see light and color, yes, but we also hear the subtle shifts in a loved one's voice, feel the warmth of the sun on our skin, smell the earth after rain, taste the salt on our lips, and sense when someone walks into the room behind us. Our lived reality is far more than the 5 traditional senses. We experience the world through a rich array of known and emerging senses, many of which science continues to understand more deeply. Beyond sight, hearing, taste, touch, and smell, there is proprioception, the sense of body position in space. There's interoception, the awareness of internal bodily states like hunger, thirst, and the urge to breathe. There's equilibrioception, our sense of balance, and chronoception, which helps us perceive the passing of time. Nociception alerts us to pain and danger, while thermoception tracks heat and cold. We also have emotional perception, which enables us to read the mood in a room, and social intuition, which often operates beneath conscious awareness. Some researchers and wisdom traditions point to even more subtle forms of sensing, energetic, empathic, or intuitive, suggesting we may be more interwoven with each other and the environment than we usually recognize. Each of these senses evolved as a survival mechanism. Our ancestors needed to detect changes in light to know when night was falling. They needed to hear a twig snap behind them, or taste bitterness that might signal poison. But as our species evolved, our senses didn't just help us survive. They began to shape our inner lives. We started to create art, music, cuisine, rituals, and meaning itself. Our senses became not just tools of perception, but portals to awe, beauty, and connection. Over time, the human nervous system grew more complex, capable of storing, interpreting, and even reshaping how we sense, based on experience, memory, and culture. Our culture, in fact, plays a major role in shaping what and how we perceive. A child growing up in a quiet forest will attune to different sounds than one raised in a bustling city. A person raised in a culture that reveres stillness may notice subtle shifts in breath or emotion, while someone raised in a fast-paced, goal-driven environment may learn to tune those things out. Trauma also reshapes our senses. It can heighten our vigilance, dampen our pleasure, or twist our interpretations. We may hear criticism when none is there, or miss a loving gesture because our past tells us it's dangerous to trust. Over time, we don't just see the world, we see our version of it. What we experience is not the raw data of sensation, but a filtered, meaning-laden story that our nervous system constructs. This inner construction is what philosophers refer to as qualia, the felt, subjective experience of being. Qualia is what makes the color red feel like red, what makes the scent of jasmine evoke childhood summers, or the sound of a certain song cause your heart to ache. It is in the realm of qualia that our truest experiences reside, yet it's the hardest to share. No one will ever fully know your version of sunlight through leaves or the sound of your mother's laugh. And yet, in honoring our own qualia and being curious about others, we open ourselves to deeper connection, empathy, and understanding. To live a more enriched and qualitative life, we can begin by tuning in, slowing down, listening, feeling fully, bringing awareness to what we're sensing and how it's shaped by our past and our present. From there, we can widen our aperture of perception. What am I not noticing? What has my culture or trauma taught me to ignore? Can I soften the filters? Can I return to beginner's mind? As we refine our sensitivity, we can better attune to the beauty and complexity of our lives, not just what is loud or obvious, but what is quiet, subtle, and alive. We can also use this awareness in service to others. When we sense that someone is agitated, we can pause instead of reacting. When we detect loneliness in a friend's voice, we can reach out. When we understand that someone's overreaction may stem from a nervous system shaped by fear, we can respond not with judgment, but with compassion. By honoring our full sensory humanity, we create the possibility of a world that is not just smarter, but wiser, not just informed, but connected. The full spectrum of human senses. We tend to think in fives when it comes to the senses. But modern neuroscience, psychology, and deep human reflection reveal that we live in a multisensory symphony with at least 20 distinct senses, and possibly more. Each sense offers a way we relate to our world, our bodies, and one another. Let's explore them now, one by one. Vision, or sight, is the perception of light, color, shapes, movement, and spatial depth through our eyes. It's what allows us to witness the golden leaves dance in the wind, to interpret the subtle shifts in a friend's facial expression, or to follow the words on a page. Evolutionarily, vision developed to help us detect danger, locate food, and navigate the terrain of our world. Color vision, in particular, aided early humans in spotting ripe fruit and reading social signals. Over time, visual arts, film, and screen culture have further refined our visual processing. However, overstimulation or trauma can either heighten our vigilance or dull our visual presence. Those who are blind or visually impaired often reveal the profound capacities of the other senses, teaching us that sight is only one portal to perceiving the world. Hearing or audition is the perception of sound, of pitch, tone, rhythm, and volume through our ears. It's the joy of music, the comfort of a familiar voice, the warning of distant thunder. Hearing evolved as a crucial tool for detecting threats, locating others, and forming complex communication. Cultures steeped in music have honed this sense to remarkable sensitivity. Yet modern noise pollution, trauma, or simply too much sound can desensitize or overwhelm us. Listening, in a true sense, becomes both an art and a healing act. Smell, or olfaction, is our ability to detect airborne chemical molecules. It's in the scent of lavender, the earthy smell of rain after a dry spell, or the smoke that signals danger. Evolutionarily, smell guided us toward nourishing food, warned us of threats like rot or fire, and helped us recognize our kin. Emotionally, it's one of our most primal senses, deeply tied to memory. The right aroma can transport us decades into the past. Rituals with fragrance and ancestral smells can evoke spiritual remembrance, while trauma involving smell, such as fire or abuse, can leave a lasting imprint. Taste, or gustation, allows us to experience the world through flavor: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami. It's the pleasure of chocolate melting on the tongue or the quick recoil from something spoiled. Taste evolved to help us discern nutrition and avoid harmful substances. Our cultural backgrounds shape our preferences, whether it's the burn of chili peppers, the complexity of fermented foods, or the comfort of sweetness. Trauma, such as experiences with food scarcity or punishment, can shape lifelong patterns in eating and sensory relationships. Touch, or the tactile sense, is our perception of pressure, texture, vibration, temperature, and pain through our skin. It's the warmth of a hug, the grip of a comforting hand, the roughness of tree bark. This sense has always been essential for bonding, safety, and interacting with the environment. Experiences with touch, whether nurturing or neglectful, profoundly shape our comfort and connection levels. Abuse, deprivation, or cultural norms about physical contact leave deep impressions, while safe, loving touch remains critical for emotional and physical well-being. Thermoception, our sense of temperature, allows us to feel heat and cold through specialized receptors in our skin. It's the warmth of the sun on our face or the shock of cold water. This sense evolved to help us regulate body heat, seek shelter, and avoid extreme environments. Our climate, our experiences with trauma like burns or exposure, and our biological sensitivity all influence how we perceive temperature. Pain, or nociception, is the perception of injury or potential harm through nerve signals. Whether it's the sting of a paper cut, the throb of internal aches, or the sharp jolt of a stubbed toe, pain is our body's vital warning system. It evolved to protect us, to make us stop and tend to our wounds. Yet chronic pain, emotional trauma, and neurological sensitivities can profoundly alter how pain is experienced. Some cultures teach us to suppress pain, while others validate and even honor its presence. Proprioception is our internal map, our body awareness in space, even without seeing it. It's how we walk in the dark without tripping, or touch our nose with our eyes closed. This sense is crucial for coordination, balance, and graceful movement. Damage to it, through injury or neurological disorders, can be disorienting, but practices like yoga, martial arts, and dance refine and strengthen this quiet, essential awareness. Equilibrioception, our sense of balance, is managed by the inner ear and helps us stay upright and oriented. Whether we're standing on one foot, riding a bike, or catching ourselves after stumbling, this sense evolved to support our upright stance and quick reactions. It's affected by vertigo, inner ear issues, or trauma, but can also be heightened through practice in activities like gymnastics or slacklining. Interoception is our ability to perceive what's happening inside our bodies, our heartbeat, hunger, breath, and even emotional states like anxiety or calm. It lets us know when we're thirsty, tired, or emotionally triggered. This internal compass helped our ancestors respond swiftly to bodily needs. For many trauma survivors, however, disconnection from this sense can occur, especially if internal sensations were once paired with fear. Practices like mindfulness, breathwork, and somatic therapy can gently reopen this inner listening. Chronoception, or our sense of time, helps us feel the passage of moments, hours, or days. Time can fly when we're joyful or drag during discomfort. Our awareness of time evolved to regulate daily rhythms, migrations, and survival strategies. Yet modern stress, constant stimulation, and trauma can distort our perception of time. Cultures that honor ritual, rhythm, and rest often develop more grounded relationships with time's flow. The vestibular sense, tied to motion detection, allows us to sense movement, acceleration, and spatial orientation. It's what makes us dizzy on a roller coaster, or lets us know when we're upside down. It evolved to keep us agile and alert in dynamic environments. This sense can be disrupted by motion sickness, trauma, or sensory integration challenges, and is often developed in children through play, like swinging, spinning, or tumbling. Magnetoreception, the detection of Earth's magnetic field, is mostly unconscious and still speculative in humans. Some research suggests animals, and perhaps ancient humans, could sense direction through the planet's magnetic fields. Today, some people report an intuitive sense of direction or a feeling of being drawn. This mysterious sense may be more active in those who spend time in wild nature or who cultivate inner compass awareness. Electroreception, the ability to perceive electric fields, is rare in humans, but well documented in aquatic creatures. Some believe humans might possess a subtle form of this, perhaps reflected in our ability to feel someone's vibe before they speak. Evolution may have left us with a faint remnant of this sense, one that's often explored in traditions of energy healing, intuition, and deep presence. Emotional perception, or affective intuition, is the ability to read others' emotions through facial expressions, tone of voice, and body language. It allows us to sense when someone is sad, angry, or concealing something. This social sense evolved to enhance bonding, cooperation, and empathy. Empaths, actors, therapists, and highly intuitive individuals often cultivate this sense, while trauma may block or distort our emotional radar. Social sensing takes this even further. It's the subtle awareness of group energy, collective moods, and the unspoken dynamics in a space. It's the unease felt when walking into a tense room, or the quiet harmony sensed in a circle of trust. This communal awareness was vital in tribal societies for cohesion and safety. Cultures that prioritize collective wisdom often nurture this sense, while narcissistic or trauma-heavy environments can disorient it. Empathic resonance is the deeply felt experience of sensing and absorbing another's emotional or energetic state, as if it were your own. It's crying without words, because you feel someone's sorrow. This resonance likely evolved to support caregiving and unity in communities. Highly sensitive people, often called empaths, experience this acutely and may need to learn boundaries and energetic hygiene to maintain their well-being. Intuition, that gut knowing, is a rapid, non-linear sense of understanding, when we just know something without rational evidence. Whether it's a sense of danger or an inspired choice, this evolved from our capacity for fast pattern recognition. While many indigenous, spiritual, and creative cultures honor intuition, others suppress it in favor of logic. Reclaiming it often brings clarity and confidence. The noetic sense is our deep inner knowing, the awareness of truths that transcend logic or the five senses. It's the felt presence of something sacred, the resonance with a deeper value, or the inexplicable sense that something is right or real. This sense, linked to spiritual survival, is often cultivated in mystical traditions, contemplative practices, or during peak experiences. It opens us to dimensions of meaning beyond material perception. Finally, the kinesthetic sense, our embodied sense of movement, rhythm, and muscle memory, lets us flow through dance, athletics, or skilled craft. It evolved to help us hunt, build, migrate, and celebrate. Kinesthetic intelligence is especially alive in dancers, athletes, and artisans. Yet in modern sedentary life, or in bodies shaped by trauma, this sense can become dormant. Movement practices reawaken this beautiful body-mind harmony. Our human evolution is not over, far from it. It continues biologically, socially, and consciously. As our inner and outer environments shift, through technology, trauma, climate, collective awareness, and even spiritual emergence, we may develop new capacities or refine existing ones in profound ways. Let's explore what's possible next in human evolution, especially through the lens of emerging or latent senses. Epigenetic intelligence. We may evolve greater inner adaptability, where our genes switch on and off more fluidly in response to our environments, physical, emotional, and relational. Sensed as an inner tuning or subtle bodily intelligence adjusting your energy, hormones, or focus. Emerging through somatic awareness, trauma resolution, intergenerational healing. Interoception enhancement. An advanced ability to detect and interpret subtle inner signals, heartbeat, gut feeling, hormonal shifts. Future trait. Hyper-awareness of internal states could allow better control over anxiety, health, and intuition. Evolutionary driver. Increased stress, health challenges, and mindfulness training environments. Noetic perception. Knowing beyond thinking. Intuitive knowing, where insight arrives whole, often instantly, with clarity but without rational steps. Sensed as downloads, flashes of genius, heart-knowing or profound aha moments. Developed by meditative practices, altered states, deep contemplation. Expanded empathy, effective telepathy. Feeling what others feel, not as imagination, but as a direct energetic or embodied resonance. Sensed as picking up someone's pain, grief, or joy before they speak, often viscerally. Cultural roots, indigenous wisdom, caregiving, trauma bonding, and mirror neuron activation. Potential evolution may become a primary sense as we become more socially interconnected and compassionate. Energetic sensory perception. Sensing the vibrational field of others, objects, or places, like an aura, energetic boundary, or magnetic field. Sensed as feeling drained or energized around certain people. Noticing a room's vibe instantly. Possible origin. Fine-tuning of electromagnetic sensitivity. Biofield theory. Synesthetic crossover. Temporal perception. Expansion. Perceiving time not just linearly, but more holistically, sensing patterns across past, present, and future. Sensed as precognitive dreams, déjà vu, visioning future paths. Developing through depth meditation, psychoactive states, trauma integration, restoring time perception. Collective consciousness sensing. A developing ability to feel into the mood or state of the collective, social, environmental, or planetary. Sensed as sudden heaviness during world events, emotional spikes not tied to personal events. Potential. Enables more unity-driven, socially responsive choices. Dream navigation, lucid evolution. Using dreams consciously for evolution, problem-solving, healing, ancestral connection, or learning. Sensed as dream recall, lucid dreaming, interacting with symbolic realms. Futuristic potential. A tool for psychological growth, spiritual development, or even communal dreaming. Neuroplastic creativity. Not a sense, but a meta-capacity, expanding the brain's ability to rewire, reshape, and reimagine reality. Sensed as adaptive thinking, new emotional patterning, wild generativity. Linked to psychedelic therapy, trauma healing, creative disciplines. Spiritual or transpersonal perception. Subtle senses that transcend the body, feeling unity, the numinous, divine intelligence, or cosmic connection. Sensed as oneness, awe, expanded identity. Already noted, across cultures as mystical experiences, Kundalini awakenings, or spontaneous spiritual emergence. How to steer ourselves toward this evolution. Begin by deepening your presence. Come home to your body. Feel your feet on the ground, the rise and fall of your breath. Let sensation guide you back to the moment. Presence isn't just a practice, it's a portal. Then expand your curiosity. Venture gently into altered states of awareness, with safety as your anchor and reverence as your compass. These are not escapes, they are explorations, pathways to parts of yourself you may have forgotten. Next, integrate the traumas that block your access to subtle awareness. Old pain can act like static, distorting the signals of your inner world. But when you turn toward that pain with tenderness, it begins to soften. And with it, new clarity emerges. Practice compassion, first for yourself, then for others. Empathy is not just emotional, it's neurological. Every act of care opens your nervous system to greater resonance. Compassion is a tuning fork for your evolution. And finally, live slowly. Live intentionally. Create space in your days where nothing urgent needs to happen. In this spaciousness, new senses begin to whisper. And if you listen closely, they will guide you home. And so, as you reflect on this sensory journey, consider these 10 guiding questions. Let them be invitations to greater awareness, deeper living, and more compassionate relating. 1. What sensations do I tend to notice most? Sight, sound, touch? Which ones do I overlook? 2. How have my early experiences or cultural upbringing shaped the way I perceive the world? 3. What role has trauma or stress played in altering my sensory patterns or reactivity? 4. Where do I experience pleasure and aliveness in my body? How often do I allow myself to feel it? 5. Are there situations where I misinterpret others due to my own filters or projections? 6. What small moments of beauty or sensory richness am I grateful for today? 7. How can I tune in more fully to what my body is telling me, emotionally, physically, intuitively? 8. In what ways can I create more sensory harmony in my environment? Through lighting, sound, textures, or scent? 9. How might I respond more compassionately to someone whose behaviors are driven by a dysregulated sensory world? 10. How can I become a more attuned, nurturing presence for both myself and those around me? Your senses are not just tools of perception. They are instruments of connection, self-knowledge, and transformation. When we embrace them with awareness, we return to something both ancient and profoundly alive, the art of being fully human. Thank you for visiting the International World Wisdom Well and learning from this carefully curated audiobook. Cultivating global happiness, well-being, and compassionate wisdom. Inside and out. Together. This is a gift from our hearts to yours. Please share with those who may benefit. May we all be well. May we all be happy. May we all be wise.